In other news tonight, the private sector has reiterated its commitment to remain a partner of government in efforts to rebuild areas devastated by Super Typhoon Yolanda. Again, the full report from Freddie Abando.
It has been a tough test for the survivors of Yolanda's devastating blow to overcome the tragedy and tears it has brought to their lives. Time flies so fast that almost a year after the super typhoon struck, the struggle to start a new life has been a formidable challenge. Recovery and relief was spearheaded by the national government, local governments in affected areas, the global community led by the United Nations, the private sector, and non-government organizations from all over. It was a massive program to provide temporary shelters for those displaced by the storm surge, the restoration of power and water, the rehabilitation of public buildings to include hospitals, health centers, school buildings, and public infrastructure.
You cannot predict how things will develop in 1 year. The first 7 months was spent clearing the debris. You saw the debris, looking for people, search and rescue. And then relief operation, getting back electricity. I mean, that's the first 7 months. The next 5 months is, you have to put together the plans. It's very difficult. People say in 1 month you were not able to rebuild the communities. Of course, because after worrying about where people are, after removing debris, after feeding people and making sure that they have even a temporary shelter, you have to begin looking for an appropriate resettlement site. And that's not easy because you have to make sure that these are not geohazard areas. You have to make sure that it's affordable to buy those properties and it's not too far from their livelihood. Those are not easy.
The government had the private sector as a solid partner in the recovery and will sustain their commitment to the comprehensive rehabilitation and reconstruction program approved by the President last week. It's a biennial partnership of local and foreign businessmen. In fact, the Philippine Disaster Relief Foundation, headed by Bill Luz, have been working hand in hand with the government in 24 areas battered by Yolanda on shelter, education, livelihood, and environment. The restoration of economic activity is crucial to the future of the battered areas.
It's been a long and difficult challenge for everybody, particularly the people affected in that area. So I think there's been already, some positive impact, people getting their lives together, but the extent of the damage was so big that I think this is going to be a long-term program for both the corporate sector and the government to keep on rebuilding. And as we say, the important thing is to build back better. And build back better not only refers to physical structures, but when you train people for livelihood and for jobs, then we had better think of jobs which will be sustainable in the long run. There could be some quick recovery jobs, but I think we need to think of rebuilding businesses.
The massive reconstruction and rehabilitation plan will cover the construction of infrastructure to include roads and bridges, irrigation systems, the relocation of communities to safer grounds, the construction of climate-resistant public buildings, especially hospital facilities which can be converted to command centers during emergencies, the recovery of agriculture, giving top priority to the replanting of millions of coconut trees destroyed by Yolanda. The reopening of the Tacloban airport is a must to be completed hopefully before the visit of Pope Francis early next year.
While you have that amount, it does not mean that you could, immediately and quickly disburse all that amount. What's important is that you have now a guarantee that things can start moving faster, and particularly for the most basic services like housing. The bigger challenge would be the livelihood, the restoration of economic activities, because that would take time for businesses to regain back confidence in the area.
In the meantime, Tacloban City is slowly recovering from the agony and anguish left by Yolanda's fury. A new township has been planned as the future site of the resettlement areas. For now, transitional homes have been built for those displaced by Yolanda. Tacloban City is rising from the ruins.
I would say the people of Tacloban are quite realistic. Whether we get resources or we don't, what was important to us was how do we plan our future? How do we make sure that if indeed we get those resources immediately, it will be put to good use? So we spent most of our time really in planning and charting the course where where we can address now all sectors of society at the same time. We can now craft something that will give direction, a plan that will give us direction. We've done that.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.